Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Not Funny Guys presents News Radio Rewatch, and we are on episode 13. Of course, I am your host, Dr. John, and we are in season 2 of News Radio. Now we will be covering the episodes Physical Graffiti and Led Zeppelin as we jump near the end here. We're getting close to the end of season 2 and moving on to season 3. But let's get into the episodes. So we start with Physical Graffiti. This was written by Josh Lieb and Paul Sims, directed by Patrick Maloney, and this one aired on the 24th of March, 1996. Now, the basic summary of this one is that Bill and Catherine have a practical joke war that escalates. Dave is annoyed Lisa still has a relationship with her ex-boyfriend, and consequences ensue from there. But let's break it down. So, we open with Dave and Lisa, while Lisa on the phone with Stuart again. We're back to that old trope of everyone loves Stuart dynamic. He still has a thing for her. She doesn't believe him because he wrote a song called Come Back Lisa. If you remember back in Zozo in the last episode, we actually talked about this. This is why she asked for an advance on her salary. And so they start fighting. Everyone notices that they are fighting over an issue, and they're like, oh, it's Stuart. Mr. James comes in. He joins in on Dave and Lisa's fight over Stuart. But then Bill gives some sage advice, but apparently it's not really sage. It just comes from fortune cookies. Now, Bill and Catherine are in the midst of sort of pranking each other, and Joe is helping out both sides. In fact, he is actually stirring the pot. So our storyline A is going to be Dave and Lisa fighting. Storyline B is Catherine and Bill feuding. Matthew lets Dave know he's on his side in this fight. And we come to find out that apparently Matthew bases all his life comparisons and references to Archie comics. Interesting. Dave and Lisa are in the break room. Apparently Stuart wants to have coffee with Lisa, and it's early in the morning, and so they start getting real petty quickly as Dave tries to sort of make really stupid petty moves back at her, and they drag Beth into this. The same way that Joe is intentionally inserting himself into the Catherine Bill, and in fact propelling it, Beth is unwittingly being dragged into this, as she will be. Beth tells Lisa she is stringing Stuart along, which is what Dave accused her of doing earlier. Lisa can't stand the idea of Stuart apparently moving on, and this is why she kind of actually is stringing him along. Bill comes to talk to Dave about his issue with Catherine. A Unabomber reference gets made, so just in case you don't know, the Unabomber, Ted Krasinski, 1990s reference, look it up on your own. But apparently Catherine has changed his extension to call the salsa radio station that he had hooked up and plugged into her headphones earlier. Bill then says he's going to have to go and tilt at his own windmills. It's a nice Don Quixote reference. Everyone's telling Dave he's jealous. Joe is stirring the pot with Bill and Catherine. To settle things, Dave apparently calls Stuart and sets up a dinner for him and Lisa. Matthew apparently has discovered the internet, and on the internet he has discovered a Photoshop photo of Catherine topless, naked, something like that, and she's offended by it. It was emailed to him. And of course this leads Joe to getting to stir the pot some more. Bill goes in Dave's office with Catherine Sevin. This time she photoshopped up Bill without something of male genitalia. Yes, so it's getting out of hand. Dinner meetup. Dave and Lisa are waiting for Stuart. He shows up, played by Wallace Langham. Dave's up sitting in between them. Stuart and Lisa end up having like an inside joke. Some guy named Howie. Dave doesn't understand. It's quite rude, actually. Dave is unsettled. He apparently they've only been going out for 6 months at this point. Apparently, not sure exactly how they measure that. Is that in the open? No talk of wedding. Dave excuses himself to the restroom. The attendant in the restroom tries to give Dave some advice. The last bit about throwing stuff on the lawn and setting it on fire is probably not the right one. Comes back to the table to find that Stuart has left. He was out. He confessed his love to Lisa, wanted to get back in. Lisa really thought that they were friends, and they keep getting interrupted by the waiter, Alan. Stuart wanted to get back together, so told Stuart she had to think about it, which is not a good answer. And Dave gets up now and leaves. Lisa orders him to sit back down so that she can get up and storm off instead. The next day, Mr. Jane comes in. He formally talks to Catherine and Bill about the Photoshop nude photos. He's seen them. Walks them over to the break room. They start venting. He calls in Joe. calls him by his last name, Gorelli. The mastermind is revealed, and Joe has had beef with them, and he's been puppeteering them for apparently 5 months and 3 weeks ago. I don't remember the day. They split a tuna sandwich that was his, and this is his revenge. Joe admits then he has a lot of free time to his boss, Mr. James, after he apparently switched both Catherine and Bill's PIN numbers on their accounts. James puts him in his place because when Joe names his PIN number, he names Joe's because he owns a lot of banks. So Joe has been put in his place. Dave and Lisa talk in the office. She formally ended things with Stuart, but apparently Dave was so jealous he was outside of her apartment until 5:37 a.m. This finally sets things off. They're breaking up. Fight over it. Who's dumping who? At one point, she starts taking off her shirt, and he's like, "Oh, that's not going to work with me now." And it's like, "No, it's his stupid shirt." Walks out in her bra, finds Bill looking at her provocatively, and she slaps him. He's like, "What? I didn't say anything." He's like, "You were thinking it." Touche. But this is how we end the episode. I think Joe, the storyline B might be my favorite. I just like Joe stirring the pot. But the Dave and Lisa one, I'm assuming, is mostly because you probably need to mix up the pot. Because this leads us into our next episode. So let's talk about it. Why am I pointing to the mic? I don't know. Let's talk in here and look this way. There we go. Led Zeppelin. Written by Leslie Knieve or Caveney, I'm not sure. Directed by Patrick Maloney again. This one aired on the 31st of March, 1996. And our basic summary is that Lisa and Dave have broken up, and now Lisa only wants to communicate with Dave in writing. But that is our main storyline A. But let's get into it. So we start with a conference table meeting. Lisa and Dave had to end up revealing to everybody they broke up because everybody keeps making these bad innuendo-filled jokes. And immediately Matthew is distraught over this breakup. He's very concerned. The meeting adjourns. No one is asking anyone to take sides, apparently, except for Beth. Matthew immediately tries to mediate something. He gets both Dave and Lisa together. He's holding their hands, and they end up walking away and dragging him across the table. Love it. Mr. James comes in, makes an announcement. He needs coffee, pencils, writing pads, headset, because he's on a spree to find that wife of his. He's down to 17. He's in the speed run mode. So that's storyline C. Aiming to find a new wife by the end of the day, or at least by the end of the fiscal quarter. Sets up his own little conference table situation. Joe and Beth are at the door of the break room thinking they overhear Lisa crying, but it's not her. She walks in. Turns out the female crying was Matthew. Storyline A, of course, will be the Dave-Lisa fallout, breakup, no talking. Storyline B kind of is Bill's crazy ex Linda, who we're going to get intertwined with here. Now, Mr. James tries to apparently get on the phone and convince Melanie Griffith to leave Antonio Banderas. And this is where we enter upon the whole Dave and Lisa are going to be communicating only with memos. It's Lisa's idea for space. Dave thinks it's stupid. So he begins creating this long one for her. This is when Bill apparently reveals that Linda, who we met earlier in the season, the one who thought he was British, has dumped Bill now. And Dave is trying to put on a brave face in front of Bill. Matthew going about talking about the office by being off. And Beth then reveals to Lisa that she thinks the memos are also cruel and dumb. Lisa is apparently avoiding this to avoid arguing. Because when she gets worked up in an argument, she gets horny. This is safer. And apparently this is why Dave liked her more when she was angry. And apparently they've done it a lot of places. Mr. James is on the phone with Winona. I think Bill thinks it's Winona Ryder. No, it's Winona Judd. She's married. He's inquiring about that not working out. Well, what about your mom or maybe your sister? So I know Naomi Judd and Ashley Judd. That's a pretty funny one. Dave is still composing that long memo. Bill is commiserating with him. They're talking about their pet peeves, but Linda's are way weirder. Stealing, escaping from a bathroom when he's talking about women being in the bathroom for so long. Dave mentions that Linda might be clinically insane. Matthew comes in with flowers that he claims Lisa sent Dave with a card. We know this is Matthew because Lisa immediately throws the flowers, hits Matthew in the head. Dave's memo comes out to 24 pages. Bill wants to read it. He thinks he can be the best sounding board for Dave. Dave is really unsure of this, and it's like, you don't trust me. Well, Linda never trusted me with her own address. Super weird. Dave goes to get the memo he's printing. He locks his door because he doesn't want anybody reading it. Joe comes to the printer he's waiting at and lets Dave know, because Dave is super paranoid. You know that job, you're printing something, right? Yeah, it's printing over there, the one that's hooked up to the network. Beth now mocking Lisa about this whole horniness thing, getting mad. Bill reveals that he and Dave are talking. Lisa now gets mad about Dave talking to Bill about her, and then starts to get horny, and they have to ask Bill to leave. This will be played out at the end when they both get on the elevator. I think Bill dodged a bullet there. Dave is now chickening out about giving Lisa the memo. Bill offers to read it for him to help it make sense, and Bill's logic is this, and I'm quoting this verbatim. Even if I completely betrayed you and babbled it to everyone, no one would believe me. Because, as he responds to Dave, why would they not believe you? I'm widely considered an inveterate liar, and rightly so. Great line. Dave calls in Joe. He's missing a page from the memo. Beth comes in with a fax machine copy. So he didn't just print it, he faxed it. Beth has read some of it, so has Joe. Apparently he rigged up the computer to do this. Catherine comes in because she found part of the page he was missing. It was jammed in the printer. She's also read it. Quotes it back to him. Mr. James on the phone with someone we don't know, but it doesn't work out. The whole gang comes. Well, really, Joe, Catherine, and Beth come to talk to Lisa about Dave and what he's written. Lisa's curious about the letter. Matthew has not read it, but he pretends to, and this spouts off a bunch of cliches, and it makes Lisa think they're fooling her. Bill finally tells Dave not to give Lisa the memo, and he puts it, as he's putting it in an envelope, said he copied Dave's memo himself and gave it to Linda. Which of course is a complete betrayal, but Linda said it was written by someone psycho. Mr. James is out of luck today. Cold calling didn't work. Thinking about cold calling Dave's mom, tells him I took her number off speed dial, so they're going to go get drinks. Dave is about to hand the letter to Lisa when she hands him a memo about talking about how they shouldn't talk about things and good night. Elevator door shuts. He puts it down. When the elevator door opens again, the letter is moved. She thinks he fooled her, so still mad because he's going to take the stairs, blah, blah, blah. And this is where Bill gets on. My God. This is a funny breakup, by the way. This is very nice. I love their arguing, and I personally love Lisa's reasoning why she doesn't like to argue, because apparently this is why she had to quit the debate team in high school, because she was afraid of getting pregnant. But next time, we'll be talking about presents and Coda. We've only got this next episode, and then we'll have one more. We'll actually cross into season 3. So we're moving right along here. However, in the meantime, please like, subscribe, share, comment, write to us. I want to hear from you guys. You can write to us at notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. Tell me things you like, things you don't like, things you want to see me do, ideas. I'm open to just at least listening. Now, if you have negative comments, I'll read it and then I'll ignore it. And then I'll go cry. I'm a big Matthew person. No, I'm not. But no, please be constructive. It's very helpful. But that's what I want to hear from you guys. Love to hear from you guys because, of course, we do the TV show over here. And, of course, we do other podcasts where we cover movies and other things. But before I talk to those, remember, like, subscribe, share, comment here, too. But if you do want to check out some of the other Not Funny Guys materials, we have our main podcast. That is where we do the movies. Not Funny Guys presents Off the Reels. We're right now hopefully going to get a palate cleanser this week. So you'll be able to hear it on Monday. A palate cleanser to the awful Mission Impossible 2. Where we'll get back on form with Mission Impossible 3. Which will now mean that we're crossing over into a film. The only other Mission Impossible film I've ever watched. So I've only watched, well, now I've watched 2, and I regret that. But before, presently, I'd watched 1 and 3. So there we go. If that's not your cup of tea, you can always check out my funny colleagues, Casey and Eric, as they do their other podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Wrestling with the Horror of It All. They talk about wrestling and horror films, mainly WWE. Go check that out. Finally, if those aren't your cup of tea, you can always check out myself, Dr. John, and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen, over on Not Funny Guys Presents Thinking About Thinking, where we get into all kinds of conversational type podcasts. We talk, we go over things, we talk about ideas of things we're thinking about. AI, culture, geography, history. I've got some ideas floating now because I went and saw the Odyssey, and so I've got some interesting ideas floating around in my head as well. So, If any of that seems like it might be interesting to you, we'd love for you to come on board. You could write us, you can comment on us, you can follow us, like, listen, subscribe, download, all that fun stuff. We're becoming very much an international podcast at this rate. Got a lot of listeners in France. We see you. But until next time, remember to keep it not funny.